Albert Einstein, the genius who changed the way we see the universe. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another inspiring journey. Today, we are going to hear the story of a man whose name became another word for genius. His photograph is recognized around the world. His ideas changed science forever. But his journey was not easy. He was once a quiet child who disliked strict classrooms. Some teachers misunderstood him. He faced rejection, unemployment, criticism, and political danger. Yet he never stopped asking questions. His name was Albert Einstein. This story is not only about science. It is about curiosity, imagination, courage, and the power of independent thinking. The language of this story is clear and simple. Listen carefully, repeat important sentences, and use this story to improve your English listening and speaking skills. Let us begin. Chapter 1. A Quiet and Curious Child. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in Ulm, a small city in Germany. His father, Hermann Einstein, was an engineer and businessman. His mother, Pauline Einstein, loved music and encouraged young Albert to play the violin. Albert was a quiet child. He did not always speak quickly, and he often took time before answering a question. Some people around him worried that he was developing slowly. But inside his mind, something extraordinary was happening. Albert was constantly observing the world. He wanted to understand how things worked. When Albert was about 5 years old, his father showed him a small compass. The compass needle continued pointing in the same direction, even when Albert moved the compass around. The young boy was amazed. He could not see anything pushing or pulling the needle. He realized that invisible forces must exist in the world. That simple compass awakened a lifelong curiosity inside him. Years later, Einstein remembered that moment as one of the most important experiences of his childhood. It taught him that the world was full of mysteries waiting to be discovered. Chapter 2. The Truth About Einstein's School Life. Many people say that Einstein failed mathematics at school. That story is not true. Einstein was actually very good at mathematics and physics from a young age. He studied advanced mathematics while many students of his age were still learning basic lessons. However, he disliked the rigid education system. His teachers expected students to memorize information, obey instructions, and avoid questioning authority. Albert wanted something different. He wanted to understand ideas deeply. He wanted to ask why. He wanted the freedom to think. Because of this, some teachers considered him disrespectful or difficult. One teacher reportedly told him that he would never achieve anything important. But Albert did not allow those words to decide his future. He continued studying independently. He read books about mathematics, geometry, philosophy, and science. He learned because he was curious, not simply because he wanted good marks. This became one of the greatest strengths of his life. Chapter 3. A Young Man Searching for His Direction. When Albert was still young, his family moved from Germany to Italy because his father's business was struggling. Albert later continued his education in Switzerland. He applied to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich. During his first attempt, he performed extremely well in mathematics and physics, but he did not pass some of the other subjects. Instead of giving up, he completed additional schooling and applied again. This time, he was accepted. At the university, Albert studied to become a teacher of physics and mathematics. He was intelligent, but he did not always attend every lecture. He preferred reading, experimenting, discussing ideas, and studying in his own way. After graduating in 1900, he hoped to become a university teacher, but no university offered him a position. He applied for several jobs and faced repeated rejection. For a time, he worked as a private tutor. He worried about money and his future. Imagine the situation. One of the greatest scientific minds in history could not find a proper academic job. But rejection did not mean that he lacked ability. It simply meant that the world had not yet recognized his ability. Chapter 4. The Patent Office. In 1902, Einstein found a job at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. His work was to examine applications for new inventions. It was not the scientific career he had dreamed about. However, the job gave him a regular income and enough time to think. After completing his office duties, Einstein studied physics. He wrote equations on paper. He discussed scientific problems with a small group of friends. He imagined trains moving close to the speed of light. He thought about clocks, energy, gravity, space, and time. His office may have looked ordinary, but inside his mind, he was traveling across the universe. Einstein proved that a person does not need a perfect office, an impressive title, or a famous position to produce great ideas. Sometimes, history-changing work begins quietly, far away from public attention. Chapter 5. The Miracle Year. The year 1905 became known as Einstein's miracle year. He was only 26 years old. He was still working at the patent office. Yet during that single year, he published several revolutionary scientific papers. One paper explained the photoelectric effect. It showed how light could behave as if it were made of small packets of energy, later called photons. This work helped the development of quantum physics. Another paper explained the movement of tiny particles in liquids. This provided strong evidence that atoms and molecules were real. A third paper introduced the special theory of relativity. Einstein showed that measurements of space and time could change depending on how fast an observer was moving. Time was not as simple and absolute as people had once believed. Then came one of the most famous equations in history, E equals mc squared. This equation showed that mass and energy were deeply connected. A small amount of mass could be transformed into an enormous amount of energy. These ideas changed modern physics. But when Einstein published them, he was not yet a celebrity. He was still a patent clerk. His experience gives us an important lesson. Your present job does not define the limits of your future. Your current situation does not decide the value of your ideas. Chapter 6. Understanding Gravity. Einstein was not satisfied with stopping there. He continued thinking about gravity. For hundreds of years, scientists had used Isaac Newton's laws to explain how gravity worked. Newton's work was brilliant and extremely useful. But Einstein believed there was a deeper explanation. He spent nearly 10 years developing a new theory. The work was difficult. He made mistakes. He followed wrong paths. He corrected his calculations and started again. Finally, in 1915, Einstein completed his general theory of relativity. According to this theory, gravity was not simply an invisible force pulling objects together. Einstein explained that massive objects bend the fabric of space and time. Imagine placing a heavy ball on a stretched sheet. The ball creates a curve in the sheet. Smaller objects moving nearby follow that curve. In a similar way, stars and planets change the shape of space and time around them. This was a completely new way of understanding the universe. Chapter 7. The Eclipse That Made Him Famous. Einstein's theory made a prediction. It said that the gravity of the sun should bend light coming from distant stars. Scientists could test this prediction during a total solar eclipse. In 1919, British astronomer Arthur Eddington led observations of an eclipse. The results supported Einstein's prediction. Newspapers around the world announced that a scientific revolution had taken place. Almost overnight, Albert Einstein became internationally famous. People who understood little about physics still knew his name. His wild hair, thoughtful eyes, and unusual personality became instantly recognizable. He was invited to speak in different countries. Crowds came to see him. Journalists followed him. But Einstein remained more interested in ideas than fame. He once compared fame to a bright light that attracts attention, but can also make it difficult to live peacefully. Chapter 8. The Nobel Prize. In 1921, Albert Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. Interestingly, the prize was not specifically awarded for his theory of relativity. It recognized his services to theoretical physics, especially his explanation of the photoelectric effect. Einstein's work on light later became important for technologies that developed long after his early research. His discoveries contributed to the scientific foundations behind solar cells, modern electronics, lasers, and other technologies. This is another powerful lesson. The full importance of an idea may not be understood immediately. Something that appears theoretical today may transform everyday life tomorrow. Chapter 9. Leaving Germany. Einstein was born into a Jewish family. During the 1930s, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party rose to power in Germany. Jewish people, political opponents, intellectuals, and many others faced increasing persecution. Einstein was already outside Germany when Hitler became chancellor in 1933. He decided not to return. The Nazi government attacked his work, seized his property, and treated him as an enemy. Einstein moved to the United States. He accepted a position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. There, he continued working, teaching, writing, and thinking about the deepest questions in physics. In 1940, he became an American citizen, while also retaining his Swiss citizenship. America became his permanent home. Chapter 10: Science, War, and Responsibility. In 1939, Einstein signed a letter addressed to United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The letter warned that Nazi Germany might be attempting to develop powerful weapons using nuclear energy. The letter helped encourage the United States government to investigate nuclear research. However, Einstein did not work on the Manhattan Project, which later developed the atomic bomb. After witnessing the destruction caused by nuclear weapons, he became a strong supporter of international cooperation, arms control, and peace. Einstein understood that knowledge was powerful, but he also believed that knowledge must be guided by responsibility. Science could improve human life. It could cure diseases, connect societies, and reveal the secrets of nature. But the same knowledge could also be used to create destruction. Einstein believed that humanity's moral development needed to grow alongside its scientific development. Chapter 11: A Voice for Justice. Einstein did not speak only about physics. He also spoke against racism, nationalism, violence, and injustice. After moving to the United States, he became concerned about racial discrimination against Black Americans. He supported civil rights organizations and publicly criticized racism. He developed a friendship with the famous African-American singer and activist Paul Robeson. He also supported the work of civil rights leader W.E.B. Du Bois. Einstein believed that remaining silent in the presence of injustice allowed injustice to continue. His greatness did not come only from his intelligence. It also came from his willingness to use his reputation to defend human dignity. Chapter 12: The Human Side of a Genius. Although Einstein became one of the most famous scientists in history, he remained a human being with strengths and weaknesses. His personal relationships were sometimes complicated. His family life was not always happy. He could become deeply absorbed in his work and emotionally distant from the people around him. A truthful story should not present any person as perfect. Great people can make mistakes. They can hurt others. They can struggle with responsibilities outside their main field of achievement. Recognizing Einstein's human weaknesses does not reduce the importance of his scientific work. Instead, it reminds us that greatness does not require perfection. It requires persistence, honesty, curiosity, and the courage to keep learning. Chapter 13: His Final Years. Einstein spent his later years in Princeton. He continued searching for a unified theory that could connect different forces of nature. He never completed this dream. Even one of history's greatest scientists left important questions unanswered. Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76. He left behind papers, equations, letters, speeches, and revolutionary ideas. But his greatest legacy was not a single formula. His greatest legacy was a new way of looking at reality. He showed that space could bend. He showed that time could change. He showed that energy and matter were connected. Most importantly, he showed that asking a simple question could lead to an extraordinary discovery. The greatest lesson from Einstein's life. Einstein's journey teaches us that curiosity is more powerful than memorization. Education is not only about collecting information. True education teaches us how to think. Einstein did not become great because he followed every traditional path. He became great because he had the courage to question ideas that others accepted without doubt. When he could not find a university position, he continued learning. When experts disagreed with him, he continued working. When calculations failed, he started again. When fame arrived, he continued asking questions. His story tells us, do not be ashamed of thinking differently. Do not allow rejection to destroy your confidence. Do not believe that your present position is your final destination. You may be working in an ordinary office today. You may be studying in a small room. You may feel that nobody recognizes your talent, but your ideas still matter. Your curiosity still matters. Your effort still matters. The world may not understand your journey in the beginning. Continue learning. Continue questioning. Continue improving. One sincere question can begin a journey. One powerful idea can change a life. And sometimes, one determined person can change the way humanity understands the entire universe. That person was Albert Einstein. Thank you for listening to this story. Listen to it again for English practice. Pause after each sentence. Repeat the words clearly. Try to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion of the narration. Every time you listen and repeat, your English will become clearer, stronger, and more confident. This video is not only an inspirational biography, it is also designed to help you improve your English through story listening and shadowing practice. How to practice English with this story. First, listen to the story carefully and try to understand the main message. Next, play the video again and pause after each sentence. Repeat the sentence aloud by copying the narrator's pronunciation, rhythm, stress, and emotion. This method is called shadowing. Regular shadowing practice can help you improve English listening skills, speak more clearly and naturally, develop better pronunciation, learn vocabulary in real-life context, understand natural sentence patterns, reduce hesitation while speaking, build confidence in spoken English. You do not need to understand every word during your first listening. Continue listening, repeating, and practicing. With regular effort, your English will gradually become clearer, stronger, and more confident. Albert Einstein's life reminds us that our current position does not decide our future. Rejection does not mean failure. Thinking differently is not a weakness. Sometimes, one curious question can lead to an idea that changes the entire world. Watch the video until the end. Practice shadowing with the narration, and take inspiration from one of the greatest scientific minds in history. Subscribe to Great Stories for more inspiring biographies, historical stories, motivational journeys, and easy English listening practice. Listen, repeat, learn, improve. Never stop learning, never stop asking questions, and never underestimate the power of your imagination. Remember, never stop learning, never stop asking questions, and never underestimate the power of your imagination. If this story inspired you, please like this video, subscribe to Great Stories Hindi, and write in the comments which great personality you want to hear about next. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next great story.